Yeah, so hello guys. Hope all of you are doing fine and well. I know this is the most anxious of time and I hope all are doing well. About this video, it's too late in tonight. It's almost past 12 in the night. So, I had this weird idea of doing a video. It's nothing much. And at least some of my friends know the book that I have written, Mumblings from the Depth. So, there are 21 stories. So, I thought each day I'll just read through it. It's nothing. We'll just read. We need some topics to talk. So if at all the video sequence goes after 21 days, we'll find some new topics as there's no breadth of topics anyway. So we'll read through the book. Actually, I've written it. I've written this book 2 years back. So it's after 2 years. Even I'm reading it for the first time now. So it might take some time to get everything in. But let's see through. So those people who have read my book know that there's a short prose before the story. What I wanted was, like, if you read the prose at first, it won't make any sense to you. And that's what I wanted also, actually, because for me as an author, it's a two-way communication. Because I need effort from your part also as readers to think. I mean, it's not that I write something, you read it and you go away. No, I need you also to think actually because it's an active participation. It's what I wanted. So this prose came as an idea so that I could engage the readers more into it. I hoped it worked out well. I don't know. It's up to you to decide upon it. So the first story is Will That Same Rain Fall Again? Since I don't have a hard copy, I'm reading it through my laptop. So the prose goes like this. I do not wish to see her. She wasn't anyone great. At least that's what I convinced myself. But I long for the rain. Yeah, what if she came with the rain? For those people who have read all my stories know I'm a bit obsessed with rain because it's very it's very close to me. Especially from being from Kerala, rains are a big obsessive for me. So let's read the story. Amputated, the word sounded majestic. For the commoners, then, the words seemed synonymous to any prestigious title. However, it is this title which restricted me to my chair near the window all day long. The war that was fought had become a long lost reality, thoughts of which were fading for all, except for me. The war wanted me to be remembered, and when it left to die, it took my legs along. So here we see a soldier who is amputated and is sitting by the window. So, in the first few lines, we can feel the regret that's flowing through the soldier because he's saying about the war which took place some years back, and it's all in a mirage. He's saying that the war which he had fought has started losing its sense of reality. The war that happened at that point of time was something big important, but now thinking back around it, it's nothing. It doesn't even feel like reality, except for me. So for the soldier, it still is reality because when he looks down, he doesn't have one of his leg. So this leg is one thing which keeps his memory to the war attached or stringed with it, whatever you say for that. It was this war that upgraded my status of category of amputated. The title was unavoidably something to remember, more noticeably than the medals displayed above the fireplace of the living room by the once proud parents. I looked down my body became a tranquilizer from the bolts of guilt that the memories of cries of mothers and children of torn lands brought to me. So here also that the soldier is trying to self-empathize with himself. He's saying this doesn't matter. He has gotten some awards in the war, but that doesn't matter. And he's talking about the look of his amputated leg is sometimes works like a drugs through the guilt that he has of the cries of the mothers and the children of the torn lands brought to me. So he's trying to find some sort of solace, some sort of relief within himself but it's not happening. I mean, it's a conflicted mind. It's a very, very conflicted mind. There's a lot of things that's going through his mind. I mean, he's trying to find some sort of happiness, some sort of relief in something, but it's not happening. So now, so the next paragraph is talking what happened after the war. So after the war, I had managed to settle in the countryside. I hired a maid to handle the daily affairs of mine. The house was small, but it did not matter to me because it could never be called a home. Obviously, home and house is a totally two different things. Any place can become a house, but it takes certain relations, certain people's presence to be called it as a home. So the soldier is saying himself that it doesn't matter wherever he is now, it doesn't matter because it can never be a home. So he's talking about his daily routine. Daily after breakfast, my maid would get me seated by this window side and I sat there till the sun went down. The window overlooked a straight line. Soon this frame became my new eye. So he's saying that from the morning after his breakfast, he's being glued to a seat beside the window side, and the small window is becoming his new eye to the outside world, because since he can't move around, he can't go anywhere around, this is the only eye that he has left within him to the outside world. Yeah, exactly. In the next line, he's saying, soon this frame became a new eye, an eye to the world that was once familiar to me. So the soldier is saying now that the world which was once familiar to him has become totally unfamiliar to him since he has lost his leg, because he has no contact left with the world. There's nothing for him outside there. He's totally being stuck to a place. The thing we have to think about here it's not that he's physically being stuck here. There are some people, even if they're physically stuck to a place, they're mentally, and they have the courage, they have the will to go outside. But here the soldier is both physically and mentally being stuck to a place. And actually it's a very dangerous place to be in, because if the mind loses its battle, you can't win anything. I mean, there's nothing, because hope is a big thing, and you need to hold on to it. And if you lose it completely, I think there's no way out of it. So he's going on. Summer was at its threshold. Every morning I saw people crossing the lane in great hurry, trying to make it in time for work. I observed that everyone was in short of time while I had it in abundance, which to me was worthless. So he is seeing the things that he sees out of his window. So he is seeing so many people who are rushing away for work, and he thinks that they are in short of time, but I have enough of time. So he's trying to find everything in a negative sense. I'm not saying a negative sense, but that's the only reality that's left with him. I mean, there's nothing, you can't blame him also, because that's the only thing that's left with him. So in the evenings, the kids played sorry. So in the evenings, the kids played football down the lane. I didn't remember any of their faces much, but their legs sent flashes of familiarity time and again. So in the evening, he's seeing the kids playing football. He's not interested in the kids, in the game or anything. He's just interested in the legs of the kids, because that's what he's lacking. Could we say that it's always greener on the other side? Because what he lacks, he sees in abundance in the world. I mean, he feels like he's a left out. He feels like he's a victim. He's a victim of the war. So he feels he's a victim and he's not responsible for this. So yeah, so the next paragraph is talking about his state of mind. Silence became my constant companion in my solitude. It accompanied me to sleep. It followed me in my dreams. I had been pushed to take a great leap from the days of my youth to old age, skipping everything in between. My life was just a rusted wheel. It just went on because I had to. So here he is making clear of his mindset, what's going through his mind. Silence became my constant companion in my solitude. You see the way the sentence is being formed is, silence became my constant companion in my solitude. If you think back, it's, what do you say? I mean, even though I have written this, it's I can't understand it now, okay, because in what set of mind I wrote this. But solitude, silence, he's trying to compare it, is trying to merge it into one. I mean, he is in the depth of his despair. I mean, it accompanied to my sleep, the silence. It followed in my dreams. Who dreams of silence actually? I mean, it's very weird if you think about it. Like, it followed in my dreams because either you dream about nightmare or about some good things or something or the other, because this guy is saying that even in his dream the silence followed him. So he's saying that he's been pushed to take a great leap from the days of his youth to the old age, skipping everything in between. So he's been like, he was a child, he was a youth, straight he's been going through his old age, missing out all the good things in between of life. Again I'm saying he knows that he's a victim of a war that he wasn't responsible for. So my life was just a rusted wheel. He's comparing it to a rusted wheel. It went down because it had to, because he couldn't suicide himself. I mean, if he had the guts, no, I'm not saying guts or anything. If he felt, I don't know, he didn't suicide. I mean, he didn't feel like suiciding. He went on. So it was around this time it started to rain. As I told first, rain is my weak point. So in many of my stories, rain will come, and in future stories also rain will come. So I'm really sorry for that. It was around this time that it started to rain in the evening, giving some relief from the extreme temperature of the day. Rain sometimes soothes mind actually. I mean, at least for me, it soothes my mind because especially being from Kerala, it's a very special thing for me. It soothes my mind, it calms my mind. So I was trying to put it into the author, into the writer, into the soldier who's being here. So a girl who sold flowers began to take shelter by my window during those rains. So he's sitting by the window. Since it started raining, a girl who sold flowers, she would come and take shelter in the shade of his window probably during the rain. Having no intention of abandoning my friend's silence, I did not utter a word to her. See, here he's being very adamant. He's being adamant that he doesn't want to leave this state of mind. He wants to remain there. She's coming, a person has come here. He has no intentions of going back to normality. He in a way of sense, he's finding comfort here. I mean, he won't accept it, but he wants to stay here. But after a few weeks, I gave in. I inquired her name. She replied as if she was waiting for the question. Look, the girl wanted to speak, the other person wanted to speak, but she didn't want to disturb him in his privacy because she's taking shelter in his window during the rain. So she didn't want to become more of a nuisance. And when he asked a question, question in the sense he asked her name, she was waiting to get it answered. So she says the name, and with a smile, her smile was sweeter than the name itself. How could he think about such a good thing? I don't know, because all this while he's being talking about being a victim, there's nothing in the world, everything was dark. But when a name came to him, the name was okay, her smile was sweeter than the name itself. The name meant nothing to me, but she came with the rain, so I welcomed her. Again here, he doesn't want to accept anything good in his life. You can't blame him for that also, because it's not his fault. And the thing is, like, he is not taking any effort also to get over it. I mean, the name meant nothing to me, but she came with the rain. So he's finding reasons to welcome her. He's finding reasons to say that she is good. Here we see a change of character where he's trying to incorporate some sort of positivity in his life. The rain continued for some more weeks. She popped in daily for an hour or so. Slowly I started narrating her the stories of my war, and she told me the tales of her home where she dropped her flowers by. So First, it was ask of a name, then they had more conversation, and he started talking about the stories of his war. I mean, that was the only thing in his mind because he always knew he was a victim. That was what disturbing his mind. So naturally, he started talking about it. But she started talking about the the stories of the home where she dropped flower. I mean, she used to see something there. She used to see a kid there. She used to see something else there. She started speaking about it. She became my other eye beyond the window. Here, this girl, it's not just a girl, because earlier he had told that his window was the only eye to the outer world. Here, this lady, this girl, is becoming an eye for him, his second eye beyond this window. And this eye would go around the places where she dropped flowers, take up the stories, tales from there, come back, say to him. So it was a traveling eye for him. She became my other eye beyond the window through which I saw beyond the horizon. Oh, she started seeing beyond the horizon. Here comes the most beautiful line in this story. I could feel my legs growing back, traveling places again. Look, as I said, she was becoming the second eye for him. So it's here we see the small sprout of hope coming up through small seedling, small plant, something that's coming up. So we see small hope coming up. One day the rain halted his evening visit. So the daily rain that used to fall during the evening, one day it stopped. So did she. She also stopped coming. The rain stood away for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks the rain did not come at all. And after 2 weeks, one day the rains came again. So for this 2 weeks, he never saw her. He had no news about her, nothing. So the next time the rain started falling again, a young man came with flowers and took his place. So he's asking to that guy. So he is asking to that guy about this young lady who used to stay there, and the guy replies that yeah, she was my cousin and she died last week. So our soldier, his lines, I did not ask him what caused her death. That name meant nothing to me. Again, he's going back to his state of self-denial because this lady was the only good hope, small sprouting of hope, something in his life. But again, that's been stopped. Again, he's going back to his cocoon of where he doesn't want anything of the world. So he's going back there. Look, he is denying again. The name meant nothing to me. In the last paragraph, he told that it was through her that he had the feeling of his legs growing again and everything was talking good about her. But suddenly he's coming back. The name meant nothing to me. Again, this is very common with us also, man. When situations turn tough and everything, we grow into a state of self-denial. She was just going to be like the war that faded away from the mind of folks. So the same way that he told in the first paragraph, where the war which had took place now, which had took place years back, doesn't seem like a reality now. He's saying this name also. This name is going to fade away from my mind. But in the last line, he asked himself a question. All I did was ask myself a question. Will that same rain fall again? How much ever you deny yourself, how much ever he's denying himself, he knows what he wants. And he knows that he had found a source of hope, solace, everything in that lady. And he's trying to associate her with the rain. And he's saying, will that same rain fall again? Actually, it is the height of his self-denial, but still there's some sort of, this struggle going within him. This struggle going within him somehow, if she comes again, it's a very complicated mind. So let's see the pros. I do not wish to see her. She wasn't anyone great. He's again denying. At least that is what I convinced myself. He himself knows what he is going through. But I long for the rain. Yeah, yeah, but what if she came with the rain? What if she comes again with the rain? He's stopping it with an sense of hope and unreal hope. Okay, what do I say? Because no one is going to come back from death. We all know that. But sometimes in life we need this source of unreal hope, because that is what keeps your life going forward. I mean, that is what keeps you going forward. So yeah, in life you need this sort of unreal hope at times. That's what I feel from this, because it's. I mean, life is never easy. We all know that. Life is never a good bed of roses or anything. So we need this sense of hope to keep us pushing forward. It's very important, and let's all try to stop being self-denial about ourselves, self-denial about our feelings, not accepting feelings as it are. Because in any sort of feelings, I mean, anything, acceptance is the first phase. We need to accept what we are. We need to accept our state of mind. We might be sad, we might be angry, we might be depressed. We need to accept it. That's the first point. So that's all with the first story. It's a very special story for me in many sense, because I mean, I never used to write in my school days and college days, nothing. I mean, college for just some competitions of essays or something, that's it. So after I completed my graduation, I thought I should take up writing very seriously. So there's a friend of mine. So I talked with her dad actually. I mean, yeah, she's a friend of mine. So I talked to the dad. So I showed him a story after my graduation, chuma. I mean, just to get his opinion. He wasn't impressed at all. Okay. So I took it up as a challenge, and I wanted to improve my writing. So for 6, 7, 8 months, I mean almost 8 months, I did nothing else. I used to get up in the morning. I used to go to the library, sit and read about this old English classic stories over, and then start writing. So after 8 months, I saw him again. I showed him this story at first. He was totally impressed. So it's a very special story for me. So I hope you too had a good time reading. I mean, reading along with me. It's fine, man. We all have time now, right? So this is the first story. Hope to see you soon. I mean, there's no timeline for this when the next video come. As and when it comes, we'll read through it. Hope you had a good time. Stay safe. Stay strong. Bye.